Okay, we're on the air. Uh, I don't have to tell you this, but I'm a former special ops for quite a while, and so along with the special ops that God has given me now, I've got the captain of my faith. He's got the right hand of the Father. He's sitting right there, and he's given me a certain amount of authority. One of the things we Christians we're living in the last days, and it's not enough just to pray. Luckily, I'm one of the older guys. I don't have a heck of a lot of time to go. Although the wife says, "No, you're gonna live to be 92." Well, I thought I was going to be 86. Anyway, a lot of the things that are going on today, we have a lot of time to watch TV and see what's going on around the world: India, Japan, China, Malaysia, the Far East, the Near East, down south, the South America, and what's going on in Venezuela, and the Russians are over here, and the Russians are over there, and the Chinese are here, licking their chops about what these things are going to be. And anyway, I'm a history buff, and we had the white people, English Westerners, Western European people. We had our day. Starting in the 1780s. We had some close calls. God was with us, I think. I've got some ideas, about this, about the lost 10 tribes of Israel not having been lost, and they're still not lost. And the concept is, if you read the scriptures and you get out the maps of where the Assyrians may have taken them, and then look, if Israel, you've had what 30,000 Syrians walk into Europe and took them maybe 3 months. Do you think Israel could have gotten into Europe in 300 years? Don't be so damn stupid. When I got another sign going here. Wait a second. Okay, here we go. Uh, Anyway, that's one of the kind of things that they talk about nowadays. Are the Western is Portugal? What are they famous for? The Swedes, what are they famous for? Scandinavians, what are they famous for? English, what are they famous for? The Americans, what are we famous for? We are the only ones that have really controlled the gateway of our enemies. Uh, Jewish people haven't done that. I mean, they got kicked out of 70 AD. The Romans put them into slavery, run them off, and they've been having a hard time ever since, except in 1948. They all thought that, hey, we're going to return to. Most of them have never been to the Far East, but they're going to return now because God gave them that property. So they kick all the Palestinians out that had been there for quite a while. Confiscated their bank accounts to give them 30 days to get the hell out, left the furnitures behind, left the bank accounts behind, and then they were in a tough spot because the Israelis said, "Oh, stay here, we'll protect you." And I said, "No, you're not going to win this war." So anyway, that's old history, and we can blame, I don't care, blame the bankers, blame the Mormons, whoever you want to blame, the Catholics. But the way the situation now is for Christians in these days, we've got a lot of ministries running around telling you about what John had to say, telling you about what Paul had to say. Very few of them go to the area of Scripture that tells you what Christ had to say. But we're in this 22nd century now, and there's a lot of information out there, and the idea, though, that Christians, we think we're going to be saved. We think we're going to be raptured out of here. That's a big lie. That's a damnable lie. But it sounds good. It sounds good. But then we come back, and a lot of us that are specialized We're doctors, attorneys, Air Force captains, airline captains. We own a plumbing business, and technology moves on, and that's about what's happening today. Technology is moving on. One of the technologies that I came across, I won't tell you how I got this, but this conversation you're going to hear is about the internet and the 8 levels of the internet. You don't have to believe it. Supposedly, it's a conversation between a technician, a genius, 3 or 4 master's degrees, and what we have is this quantum computer. Quantum computer. Apparently, we have the best so far, but the Chinese and everybody else is working on it too. This is going to speed up whatever's going to happen. So, oh, bad that wound. Anyway, I'm gonna try to let you in on a conversation between this technician, this genius, telling another agent. I won't get into that. Maybe CIA, something like that. He's telling him. He told him quite a bit about this computer, but then he says, "You got to know where it's collecting all the data from." This computer has the ability to pick up everything. Anyway, I'm going to let you listen to the technician that explaining the 8 levels of the internet, where this computer, quantum computer, picks up its data. So stand by.
As far as we know, the internet functions at 8 levels. Level 1 is called the surface web or visible web. It's the one we all know: Google, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, standard search engines. It really only represents less than 2% of the information that exists on the internet. What? Yeah, it's mind-blowing when you really think about it. The second level is the Burgi web. They are web pages not initially searchable without a proxy or permission from the creator. It's still semi-accessible with VPNs and access cards. You can get there without too much additional knowledge or risk. Risk? Oh yes. The deeper you go, the riskier it gets. Physical risk? Let me explain, Jimmy continued as he drove. After level 2, it gets ugly. Level 3 is the deep web. You need to have a proxy or an identification code to get in. This is where things get illegal and messy. It is estimated that 96% of the web lives at level 3. Hacking sites, drugs, restricted pornography. Access is through Tor, the onion router, which bounces you from site to site to protect your identity, but it is not bulletproof. If you don't know what you're doing, people will come after you. That happens to me anyway, Reese said. Then you should feel right at home in level 4. It's called the charter web. Really bad stuff there. Human trafficking, more drugs, snuff films, black markets. You can get almost anything. Payment is in cryptocurrency. The further you go, the more restricted it gets, and the more dangerous. If you keep exploring, you will need to use the closed shell system, and you can only be let in by someone who is already there. What's on level 4? What's so dangerous about it? Hidden government secrets, assassins, hard drugs, military-grade weaponry, hardcore child porn. Jesus! Yeah. But it doesn't stop there. If you keep going, you get to level 5. It's called the Marianas Web, named for the deepest trench in the Western Pacific. This is where the military secures its information. You need special algorithms that even the supercomputers would have trouble hacking or breaking. But she can get in, can't she? In a heartbeat, Jimmy had said. What could possibly be past that? Reese had asked. Level 6 is basically called a mediator level, meaning it's just protection for the next 2 levels. If you are in level 6, you are going to get some attention you don't want. Governments, cartels, terrorist organizations, hackers. It's best to stay out. I have no intention of ever even sending another email or text. I know, Jimmy said. Learning all this makes you want to completely disconnect. And levels 7 and 8? Level 7 is called the fog, or virus soup. This is where the wars of the 21st and 22nd centuries will be fought. Battles are waged with code for control of the internet, for control of the data. China, Russia, India, the United States, they spend hundreds of billions trying to get to this level and fight it out. They are all gunning for control. It's a war zone. Anything goes. If you control level 7, you control the data for levels 1 through 6. But Alice said she lives at level 8. Reese had noted. Yes, it's called the Primarch system, the Holy Grail. Impossible to access even with quantum computers. Alice is the only one there. Many people believe level 8 is a myth. It is thought to be the control point of the internet. No one really knows. We don't even know for sure, and Alice is our creation. She's in there, and she's learning. I'll tell you.
Well, you may have gathered by this time that Alice is the name of this applied logistics or quantum. Anyway, the only reason I bring this up to Christians is this world we're living in is going to be too deep for you, really, and you're not going to get away from it. So, as I told you, and I keep telling you, be prepared to die. You know, and Christ said, "I'll send you a comforter," and a lot of that comfort is knowing basically where you're going to wind up ultimately. But you've got to be as gentle as a dove, but as cunning as the serpent. I've got, I think, in former videos, I've told you, look, I don't think all the Christians went to the Colosseum. You know, if there were Christians that had the wherewithal, they split. In those days, don't forget, Christ said, "I have other sheep." And the Jewish guys would, where the hell does he think he's got other sheep? Where? Have they gone up to Galatia or somewhere, you know? Well, as a matter of fact, they did. They went beyond Galatia, and they were called Scythians, Goths, Ostrogoths. Hungarians were called the Ten Arrows. Hungarian is a very different language. Estonian and the Finnish and Hungarian are Finno-Ugric, and I can pick up almost any language. And even I have a hard time because in Russian you say yes, you say da. In Estonian that means no. Anyway, I want to assure you that you better get right with God through His Son. Don't forget, we belong to Christ. We've been redeemed. A price has been paid, and it's not going to be an easy deal. You know, in the service, they used to have an awards and decorations ceremony, and you sure as hell don't want to be there at the Lamb's Supper when they're passing out the awards at the Bema, as they call it. You don't want to be there if you're not supposed to be there, okay? Don't forget that the Lamb's Supper, somebody appeared and said, "This guy is not dressed right." He says, "Throw his ass out." This whole Christian thing, like a cop, you've been a cop, the cops are always famous for their blue humor, you know, Rodney King kind of a thing, all the comments that were made in that thing. But it's not going to be as easy as you think. But there's a way out. There's a way out. God says, "Trust me." Trust Him. Do you really? And look, if you don't have the faith, then you ask Him for the faith. When my wife pray all the time, and we say, "Lord, thank you for everything that we have. He's placed us in a wonderful environment." And He says, "Help us to know what you want, and then give us the authority and the Spirit to do it." Christ says the harvest is ripe, but the laborers are few. That that takes care of you people that think you're going to slide into heaven on a banana peel. Anyway, I want you to hear something like that, and I've got some other information about what might happen. This pestilence. I mean, COVID-19 is just a drop in the bucket compared to what may happen. Satan, don't forget, Satan has to have the earth. He's not into destroying the earth, but he certainly wants to get rid of these creatures that God created on the sixth day that would have dominance, that would have dominion over the other creatures. And Adam was one of them. So anyway, I don't want to get too confusing, but you're not going to make it unless you start to get right with God. And what did Christ say? He said, if you're doing something wrong, repent. And almost everything we do nowadays is wrong. I mean, you've got to have the Spirit, and you're not going to get the Spirit until you ask for it and you believe that He's going to give it to you. I'm listening to Paul. You know, Paul said he was baptized, but there was another Simon later on that Paul had a tangle with, and he said he was baptized too. So, sweetheart, just getting baptized is not going to cut it. That's just the beginning, all right? So I'm going to leave you with that today. I'm having a good time with this thing because I think God's going to protect me, and when we go, maybe we'll go together, Anyway, if it gets that damn rough, God's not, does he? He just pull you out of the whole thing. You die once. That's it. But then where you're going to wind up that's the main thing. So I want to give you a message of hope. Find God, talk to him someday. He'll listen to you a couple of times. Don't cross him. But if you do, then you scamper on over to Christ and say, I don't know what the old man is upset with me. He says, I get it. He says, I'll take care of it now. You go read what I had to say. And then every day, tomorrow morning, you come back and talk to me. Okay, we'll get the day started. And that's what your prayers are supposed to be all about. You're not going to be able to do anything without the Spirit of God working through you, It's not Christ in you, it's Christ working through you, And someday, sometime, he'll introduce you to the Father. Great responsibility. Okay, it's enough for today. Trying to keep this thing short, but think about it.